doubled up on each limb. So now in the context of the groove with which I first showed it to you, it'd be like this. For all you double bass animals out there, we'll definitely have a lot of demonstration and talk about some various double bass techniques. And of course, there'll be a whole lot on drum soloing as well. Let's get started today with the most important thing of all, and that is grooving. That's tired, right? So what can we do to really make this happen, to make this groove come along? For the bass drum, you just got to rear back and fire. Really make the drum sing. Incidentally, I call this the power groove. Say like with funk drumming, it's one thing to sit in a room and work on all the funk chops. That's cool, but I know for me, my whole funk attitude or funk groove didn't really come together until I actually got out and played with a couple different hardcore funk bands. Now today, let's metamorphosize these into more practical groove applications. Let's start with the 5-stroke roll. Now let me demonstrate all these rudimental ideas in a sort of groove-oriented solo application. It's easy to have this theory about to stay in a room and practice to where the baddest around and go out and blow the world away, right? But it doesn't always work that way, because when you go out and perform live, it's a whole nother ball game. A lot of years touring in metal bands all around the country, and I spent many a night in cheap motel rooms living off chicken soup. You're soloing for like a crowd of screaming rivet heads, and then they're responding, and then so you want to give them more, so you raise your intensity level, and then they respond more, and then all of a sudden you get tired, This should never happen. Double bass drumming is a gigantic topic all its own. One suggestion might be to take one of your favorite records, put on the headphones, and just groove along double bass style all the way through it, as a way of kind of like a Jane Fonda aerobic workout principle there, all right? So you might have this. Let's take the good old paradiddles, and let's break them up between the cowbell and the snare. I think the most interesting thing about the solo you just heard was the fact that there was a definite form happening. Now, obviously there's no right or wrong way to solo. Now, when I was studying these crossover patterns with Lenny Nelson, he had a very interesting approach to them. He used to talk about working them up to speed so fast that you really didn't think of them anymore as like, 16th note triplets. You thought about them more as like a color. Another thing that I found to be very helpful to me, especially where speed and stamina is concerned, is weightlifting. I got into lifting a few years back because in the same way that I talk about having like an overabundance of technique, I think it's important to have an overabundance of power and endurance. So weightlifting can help. One thing that I don't do is any exercise that directly works my forearms, like wrist curls or something, because I found that can actually inhibit your hand speed in certain situations. But other than that, weight training has given me the ability to perform tirelessly. I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I don't do drugs. And obviously I'm not a preacher. So above and beyond all the solo stuff and the double bass chops and the fast licks, remember to play what's appropriate for your own personal musical situation. If you want to be a great drummer, it always gets back to one thing, and that's how bad do you want it? It's like, how hard are you willing to work? How much are you willing to sacrifice for it? So if you really want it, work hard,